Mad doctors are one of the most well-known science fiction tropes. And today we're pitting two of the most pathetic ones. Dr. Neo Periwinkle Cortex, the creator of the Cortex Vortex from Crash Bandicoot, and Dr. Horrible, the aspiring supervillain from Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. Hug. And Sandy Island, a home to many rich or lush organic environments. And however, somewhere off the coast, there is Cortex Island, which is the current residence of Dr. Neo Periwinkle Cortex. Really, Periwinkle? That's his middle name? Anyway, Cortex is a notable... is the main antagonist from the Crash Bandicoot media franchise. Having appeared in every Crash game, excluding Crash Bandicoot 99X. Cortex was once the youngest child in a family of circus clowns, until at the age of 3, he experienced his family dying in an explosion. Cortex, due to his vast mental superiority, was in high school at age 6. There he came across Dr. Nitrous Brio, his first assistant and former assistant and friend Cortex. However, their high school exploded and they were enrolled into the Academy of Evil. There, Cortex had finished work on a prototype of the Evolval Ray, which he had used on his pet parrots Victor and Moritz to attempts to make them powerful mutants. This failed, however. 2 years later, Cortex and Brio had become international criminals. So they had to take refuge in the only place that would really accept them, off the coast of Australia, where they had built a huge citadel known as Cortex Castle. Their Cortex had started with genetic experimentation and created his first 2 mutants, Tiny Tiger and Dingodile. Then Cortex had hatched a plan and make the Cortex Commandos, a legion of powerful mutants to take over the world. For this, he had to get some mutants, so he enlisted the help of Dr. Nitrous Brio to collect the animals for him to mutate. For that, he had collected the animals that Brio had collected are a kangaroo, a koala, a potoroo, 2 Komodo dragons, and a whole lot more, and 2 bandicoots. One was used as a failsafe in case the other one didn't work. And that is the story of how. And then Cortex was working on late in his lab one night, and when it was time for Crash to go through the Cortex Vortex after being blasted by the Evolval Ray, something happened. Instead of the Cortex Vortex working, it failed, causing Crash to become not the most mentally stable person in the world, which led Crash to break out. However, Dr. Neo Periwinkle Cortex had wanted his minions to capture and contain Crash Bandicoot. That they used his girlfriend Tawna as bait to lure Crash into Cortex Castle. Cortex is a great arsenal. In just the first game alone, he only had one. In his first appearance, he only had one major form of arsenal, being his ray gun. His most iconic weapon, the ray gun. In this, he has many different shot types, having his traditional normal shot. Has 3 different shot types of the normal type: green, which can be reflected; blue, which which travels along surfaces, and pink shots, which just go off the side and when fired don't have any special properties. Cortex also has one major thing that he gains in Crash Insanity: charge shot. However, after his defeat in Crash 1, he had developed Melted. He also has his in Crash Team Racing, Cortex had developed his own red go-kart, which he logically should have all of his weaponry from CTR, which includes missiles, bowling bombs, beakers, etc. Next up on the list is Crash Bandicoot: The Huge Adventure, where he had made the planetary minimizer, which is strong enough to shrink entire planets down to the point where Cortex can hold it in his hand. Hold it in the palm of his hand. However, after the Cortex entered the planetary minimizer had short-circuited due to accidentally shooting his power source. Cortex and his minions, Engine, Tiny, and Dangodile, had been mutated into the monster Mega Mix. However, that requires outside help and prep time. And next up is 2003's Crash Nitro Kart, where he has a new and improved vehicle, the Team Cortex Kart. He's fast enough to keep up with people like Emperor Velo, who should be faster than Nitrous Oxide, who flew from outside of Earth's atmosphere down to Earth in a matter of seconds. And Cortex should also logically have items from CNK, including ice mines, tornadoes, and static orbs. In the Crash Insanity, he had built the Mecha Bandicoot. Though he never used this outright, he has it basically equipped with chainsaws, missiles, and a projectile shooting nose. Cortex also has moves comparable to those that Crash could use, having his own version of the Cyclone Spin and Slide and Body Slam. In Crash the Titans, Cortex has the Doominator, has the Make Another Ater, which allows him to make a clone loyal to him, one that's supposedly loyal to him, with a single shot, if anything, in the raised distance. Cortex also has the Doominator, a powerful giant robot, which theoretically would be able to make him at least comparable to a figure, which was ultimately defeated very early on. Cortex's last major notable thing is his mutant form from Crash Micro Mutant. And he gains this form after drinking some Nitrous Brio's mutation formula. There, Cortex becomes a big hulking monster. For Cortex strength-wise has the power to be comparable to Crash, who defeats Dr. Nefarious Trophy, who, according to the Wrath of Cortex's manual, it causes time paradoxes for his own amusement. In terms of speed, he has teleportation and is capable of reacting to lightning attack from Madame Amberly. Here. Well, as well as lasers from Tikimon. Then there's durability. Cortex has survived quite a lot of things. He's survived several free falls down to the Earth, being sucked into a time when the Earth was uninhabitable. The wrath of Uka Uka when he had failed to get the power crystals was Wrath of Uruka again when they were stranded in the Antarctic, spending 3 years in a frozen block of ice, being impaled, being trapped in a pipe, being used as a snowboard to the point where his testicles were destroyed. And most notably of all, Cortex on the. However, Cortex is not perfect. He's easily more reliant on machinery for any form of tactical ability. However, Cortex is very durable all the same. So word of advice, do not mess with this evil scientist.
Crash, crash, crash. Why must you always muck in my mud? Oh look, at a mask. I mean me too.
We'll find out which one's more powerful soon enough. Billy was once a normal kid, was once a normal man, who I really wanted to be part of the League of Super Evil, not the one from the Cartoon Network show. However, he had several failed applications, so this was his last chance. He had a chance. He had gotten very close to his girl named Rosie, so he hadn't tried to build any things to try to impress her. However, a superhero came into the mix, that being Captain Hammer. Basically the Superman of this universe. However, Billy has an aversion to murder. He does not want to kill people. He even rejects the idea of killing someone who's an easy target, like a child or an elderly person. However, after Captain Hammer was shown to be abusive towards the love of his life, Dr. Hammer dropped his silly morals and decided to become a villain. However, you will not become a villain without some real weaponry. He has his only forms of weaponry are his freeze ray and death ray, which are the same machine, just revamped. The freeze ray just stuns people in place, whereas the death ray can kill if it's not stable, will explode into deadly shrapnel and impale the opponent instead. Strength-wise, he is capable of fighting on par with Captain Hammer. He should at least be comparable to really normal human level in strength. He knows able to tank attacks from superpowered humans like Captain Hammer. In terms of speed, he should be at least somewhat comparable to the superhuman Captain Hammer. And lastly is his durability. It comes from Captain Hammer scaling again, as he casually tanks attacks from Captain Hammer. However, Dr. Horrible is no matter. So very early on, he's not willing to kill unless provoked, and when it comes to a fight that fight to the death, that's kind of a huge disadvantage to have. Also, he's completely freaking pathetic in every other way. Brand new day, you're just singing 'cause you're gonna die. Alright, the mad scientists are ready to see which mad scientist takes this battle. It's time for a fight. Location in city. Dr. Horrible is shown with his new and improved death ray. So, who am I? Notice him walking down the street holding his death ray. And suddenly, he then trips over a missile that was on the ground.
You dare hurt my assistant? I am Dr. Neo Cortex, and you are now one of my biggest enemies. You have damaged my assistant engine. Now, prepare to die.
White. Dr. Horrible runs up to Cortex, punching him in the face. This Cortex,
Is that the best you've got?
this Cortex then runs at Dr. Horrible, punching him in the face. Punching him back. This then fires a. Then goes into his pocket and pulls out his ray gun. Where he puts it to stun and blasts Dr. Horrible. This is Dr. Horrible. Then shortly after he breaks out of his thing and violently gets his aversion of killing out of the way. And finally, Dr. Neo Periwinkle Cortex X then takes out the ray gun and starts to burn, and hits Dr. Horrible on the side. Ugh. His Cortex does a maniacal laugh. He then puts a landmine into his opponent's side. Cortex takes out his ray gun and fires a shot into Dr. Horrible's side, causing Dr. Horrible to be exploded. KO! How did Cortex win this? Well, both Cortex and Horrible were completely pathetic. At least Cortex had several redeeming qualities in this fight. He actually had every redeeming quality in this fight. He is smarter, stronger, more durable, definitely way faster. I mean, sure, somewhat superhuman from scaling to Captain Hammer, which is impressive, but at least Universal is scaling to Crash, who defeated Entropy. He defeats Entropy. In terms of speed, Cortex's speed feat. Cortex on foot is comparable to Crash. Who can dodge electric attacks from battlers, dodge electric attacks from electrics, and voodoo bunnies. Most Dr. Horrible's durability feat out of the water. Best durability. Was Dr. Horrible's best speed feat out of the water. And Cortex survived a lot more than just simple punches to the face from the hammer. But the end looks like Billy suffered a horrible fate at the hands of this nefarious doctor. The winner is Dr. Neo Periwinkle Cortex. Next time on Fights. Next time I'll put the two metal doppelgangers against each other. Metal Sonic versus Mecha Godzilla.